Hi, and welcome to House DeLuna. In this reading, I'm beginning a new series called Past Life Echoes, where we'll be exploring something known as soul contracts and how they may be influencing your present life. A soul contract is essentially an energetic agreement your soul carries across lifetimes. Sometimes these contracts form through past life experiences, relationships, lessons, or even missions your soul agreed to take on before incarnating here. Some soul contracts are about healing or growth, some are about completing cycles, and others are about remembering who you are and why you're here. In this series, each reading will focus on a different layer of that soul story, where the contract began, how it shows up now, and what your soul is asking you to understand at this point in your journey. Today's reading is part 1, where we're looking at the origin of your soul contract and how its energy is currently active in your life. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest. These are collective readings, so not every detail will fit everyone. Trust your intuition and your own inner knowing. When you're ready, take a moment to ground yourself and choose the pile you feel most drawn to. For pile 1, we have Lepidolite. For pile 2, we have blue Calcite. And for pile 3, we have clear Quartz. When you're ready, jump to the timestamp below. If you chose pile 1 with Lepidolite, this is your reading. Position 1 is the incarnation where your soul contract was formed. You have Chamuel, light green, and the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this was an incarnation themed around hope, joy, connection, heart-centered purpose, and emotional vibrancy. This was a life where you began with a gentle, optimistic nature. Your spirit naturally radiated comfort and emotional warmth, and people were drawn to you because of your ability to uplift them. But here's the key. This was a life where your light was constantly met with others' chaos. And that's where the Ace of Swords in reverse enters the story. Instead of clear communication, truth, and mental clarity, this life was marked by misunderstandings, distorted perceptions of you, others projecting their fears onto your brightness, conflicted relationships, decisions made under pressure or confusion, and a breakdown in communication that changed the trajectory of your life. Your natural joy and optimism clashed with an environment full of restlessness, anxiety, and confusion. This created a soul contract centered around, I must learn how to protect my joy without collapsing under the chaos or expectations of others. In that incarnation, you may have been a healer, caregiver, guide, or mediator, carried others' emotional burdens, lost your voice either literally or symbolically, been silenced, misunderstood, or overshadowed, felt responsible for keeping the peace, and taken on more than your soul could manage. Ultimately, the contract formed because you experienced a life where your inner light was dimmed by external instability. Your soul vowed to return with a mission to reclaim clarity, voice, boundaries, and the right to hold joy without being responsible for everyone else's healing. The message from this position is your soul came into this lifetime to reclaim its joy and its voice, not to carry the world's confusion again. In position 2 of the contract itself, what vow, wound, or mission was carried forward, you have self-respect and worthiness, and death in reverse. So in that past life, after your joy and inner light were diminished, the wound that formed centers around self-worth, identity, and the right to be fully yourself. This oracle card shows the wounds that carried forward include needing external approval, suppressing your authentic expression, feeling unworthy unless you're performing for others, basing your values on how much you give or how well you soothe others, shrinking yourself to avoid conflict or jealousy, believing that your beauty, gifts, or brilliance are dangerous or unwelcome. In this lifetime, you've internalized the belief that I must earn love by being what others need me to be. Because of your past life, your spirit dimmed itself to feel safe. Death in reverse is the exact energy of a contract that refuses to complete. In your past life, you resisted change because change felt dangerous. You stayed in relationships or roles long past their expiration. You feared being abandoned or misunderstood. You held on to an identity that no longer fit in order to maintain peace. You were unable to end something that desperately needed ending. You never fully stepped into your power and never got to reinvent yourself, and this left an energetic imprint. The contract carried forth in this life is about learning to let go, to transform, to claim your true worth, and to no longer betray yourself for the sake of harmony or acceptance. You vowed to return and finish the transformation you couldn't complete. This contract says, I will learn to value myself. I will learn to release what no longer serves. I will no longer stay small to make others comfortable. I will break the cycles of stagnation. I will honor my true identity, even if it disrupts old dynamics. In position 3 of the karmic trigger in this life, what activates this pattern now, you have blessing in disguise and the 10 of Wands. So the karmic trigger for the soul contract is burden disguised as opportunity and responsibility disguised as being needed. This oracle card shows that the pattern activates whenever something in your life appears to be a surprise responsibility, an unexpected obligation, a situation that seemed positive at first, a role where you feel chosen, significant, or picked, a moment where you feel you should say yes, a situation where you trust that it'll all work out, even if it doesn't feel right. Anything that starts out feeling like a gift, a compliment, or a moment where the universe seems to open a door but then slowly becomes heavy, complicated, or draining, that's the karmic trigger. Because in your past life, you equated being needed with being worthy. So in this life, whenever you're given a task, a job, a relationship, or a role that looks like a blessing, your inner child feels chosen, excited, and validated. But your soul contract says this is where the old pattern begins. The 10 of Wands shows how that blessing becomes the exact thing that activates the karmic loop. You take on too much. You carry responsibilities that weren't yours to carry. You feel obligated to finish what you start, even if it's killing you. You push yourself past exhaustion because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You think you have to handle everything alone. You keep saying yes, even when you're overwhelmed. And because of the blessings in disguise card, this pattern doesn't start with something obviously heavy. It masquerades as a chance, a compliment, a spark of hope, someone seeing potential in you, an opportunity that feels meant to be, or a person who seems safe or appreciative at first. This is why the pattern is easy to miss in the beginning. It feels like a breakthrough, not a burden. This is not a punishment, though. It's a checkpoint and an opportunity to rewrite your old vow. When you interrupt this trigger, you break the contract. In the 4th position of the lesson you're meant to master, what your soul is actively trying to evolve through, you have communication in reverse and the world. So communication reversed shows the pattern to break. In your past life, your voice was silenced, and in this life, the same instincts arise whenever you feel misunderstood, fear being judged, or don't want to bother anyone. You would rather endure alone than take the risk of being rejected. You are evolving the courage to speak clearly, honestly, and vulnerably, without shrinking yourself to maintain harmony. This is about reclaiming the voice that was taken from you. And the World card shows what mastery looks like for this soul contract. Wholeness, inner unity, authenticity without fear, completion of old cycles, living without apology, expressing the full truth of who you are, deep connection, belonging through vulnerability, harmony created through honesty, not self-sacrifice. In past lives, you never reached this state because your identity was shaped by others' expectations. In this lifetime, your soul is ready to finally complete that evolution. The World card is literally the card of contract completion. It means when you learn to communicate openly and authentically, you finish a karmic story you've carried through lifetimes. You are learning to stop hiding, shrinking, withholding, assuming others won't understand. Stop carrying everything alone, and instead speak your truth, claim your worth, and allow your whole self to be witnessed. That is the doorway into wholeness. In the 5th position of the hidden gift in this contract, this position reveals the spiritual ability or soul strength you will gain by completing the soul contract. And you have Zadkiel, purple, and the King of Pentacles in reverse. The cards here show something extremely powerful. Zadkiel represents reclaiming your spiritual identity, forgiveness of self and others, rising above ego-based patterns, stepping into conscious leadership, seeing your path from a higher perspective, reclaiming the inner authority you lost in past lives. Purple is the color of destiny, higher wisdom, soul maturity, connection with divine purpose, and inner sovereignty. In your past life story, You were dimmed by others' chaos and silenced into shrinking your truth. Because of that wound, your soul gift is the ability to rise above lower patterns, detach from ego-driven dynamics, and see the deeper spiritual lesson in everything. Zadkiel gives you the power to break cycles, step into your divine authority, and transform pain into purpose. You will naturally understand spiritual justice, karma, patterns, why people act the way they do, how to forgive without losing yourself, and you'll see the bigger picture even in chaos. That's the gift. The King of Pentacles in reverse is the person that you outgrew and the energy that you mastered. He represents materialism, control, possessiveness, people who use power or stability to dominate, greed, exploitation, emotional stinginess, and someone who demands more than they give. Because of people like this, your soul is developing the ability to see through people's masks, recognize power dynamics, reject control disguised as care, break free from manipulative or possessive influences, to no longer be impressed by material power, to value truth over appearances, and trust your inner authority over external validation. You're learning spiritual sovereignty, the kind that no earthly king can control. You've grown into someone who cannot be owned, controlled, or dimmed. In the 6th position of the path to integration, you have reality check and the devil in reverse. So the message here is blunt, liberating, and incredibly empowering. You break this contract through radical honesty with yourself and by releasing anything and anyone that chains you to an old version of yourself. Reality check. This is the truth that you can no longer avoid. This card is about assessment, clarity, self-honesty, calling yourself out with love, seeing your patterns without sugarcoating them, facing what drains you, acknowledging when something isn't aligned, and taking responsibility for your choices. This is the moment where your soul says, be honest about what you're carrying, why you're carrying it, and whether it truly belongs to you. Your freedom begins the second you stop pretending something is fine when your soul is screaming that it's not. Reality check asks you to see your chains, name them, stop minimizing them, stop explaining them away, stop gaslighting yourself, and stop imagining it will get better on its own. This card is about returning to your highest clarity, the place where the illusions fall away. The devil in reverse is freedom, plain and simple. It represents reclaiming your power, releasing unhealthy attachments, breaking karmic chains, letting go of guilt-based obligations, freeing yourself from old identities, detaching from people who drain you, no longer operating from fear, shame, or people-pleasing, and stepping out of contracts you never consciously agreed to. This is the energy of someone who says, this no longer owns me. You have the power right now to walk away from anything that tries to recreate those chains. In your final position of what changes once you do, you have peace in reverse and the 7 of Pentacles. So this position shows the new reality you'll step into once this soul contract is integrated and released. And these cards together tell a story of energetic alignment, steady growth, inner stability, and finally feeling safe returning to yourself. Peace reversed is not negative here. It shows what shifts as soon as you stop living under the old contract. You begin feeling energetically off, noticing where your chakras or emotional system has been blocked, acknowledging places where you felt ungrounded or overwhelmed, becoming aware of how much your energy was going to obligations that weren't yours, and realizing how out of sync you were with your true center. As G.I. Joe once said, knowing is half the battle. So once the conflict dissolves, you start reconnecting with your own body, your own spirit, and your own energy. Peace will then go into the upright and become realignment, rebalancing the self, returning to presence, feeling grounded for the first time in a long time, becoming aware of your needs and honoring them, and clearing old attachments from your energetic field. You reclaim your inner equilibrium, your inner harmony, and your inner voice. The 7 of Pentacles is slow, steady, and lasting growth. This is one of the best cards you could receive in this position. It tells you that once you break the pattern, your life becomes about consistent progress, not survival. Your energy returns to you bit by bit. Your investments, emotional, spiritual, and creative, finally grow. You develop a healthier relationship with patience and timing. You stop rushing healing and start nurturing it. You experience the reward of long-term commitment to yourself. Everything you plant will begin to flourish. You'll step into a builder timeline instead of a rescuer timeline. The Seven of Pentacles says your efforts will finally show results. Not overnight, but steadily, predictably, and reliably. So what changes? Everything. When the soul contract clears, your energy returns. Your confidence returns. Your sense of direction returns. Your stability returns. Your progress becomes measurable and satisfying. Where you once felt drained, disconnected, or overwhelmed, you now feel grounded, patient, intentional, in control of your time and your choices, connected with your purpose, able to see the long-term path clearly. Your soul is stepping into a timeline of sustainable peace, grounded growth, and true self-investment. Well, guys, thank you for walking through this lifetime with me. If this message resonated, let it settle into your spirit and notice what shifts in the day ahead. If you felt guided to another pile or want to explore more of your soul story, the rest of the series is for you. And if you'd like to keep traveling with House DeLuna, you can like, subscribe, or share this reading so it finds those who need it. And I'll see you in the next chapter. If you chose pile 2 with blue calcite, this is your reading. In the first position of what happened in your past life that created this contract, you have the Ace of Air and the Chiefess in reverse. So in a past life, there was a moment of mental awakening, a realization, an idea or a truth that wanted to be acted on. With the Ace of Air, this soul carried clarity, intelligence, and the ability to see solutions clearly. There was potential for decisive action, for cutting through confusion, for initiating change through communication, planning, or leadership. But alongside all this potential came paralysis. With the Chiefess in reverse, fear and anxiety overtook that clarity. Instead of acting, your soul became overwhelmed by self-doubt. Life felt chaotic, unstable, and out of control. Not choosing became a choice, and unfortunately, it was a choice towards self-destruction rather than self-trust. But what's important here, I'm feeling very strongly, you were never unsupported. Your ancestors were actively guiding you, sending messages, signs, and instructions through dreams and subtle intuition. But your anxiety drowned out that guidance. Either the messages weren't received, or they weren't acted upon. This is where the fracture occurred. The contract was formed not from failure, but from fear overriding your intuition. The second position of the contract itself, what vow, wound, or mission was carried forward, you have the Four of Air in reverse and the Father of Water in reverse. So this contract centers around overthinking instead of acting. With the Four of Air in reverse, your previous incarnation carried forward burnout, mental exhaustion, and the habit of circling decisions endlessly instead of moving forward. There's a deep tendency here to freeze when clarity is most needed. And the Father of Water in reverse reveals the emotional layer of this contract. You've been hurt deeply, and walls went up as protection, but these walls eventually became a prison. Emotional withdrawal doesn't make problems disappear, it only delays healing. This contract also carries a strong theme of imbalanced masculine energy. There's a pattern, either within you or inherited through your lineage, of confusing control, pride, or appearances with strength. The patriarchal version of masculinity demands performance, ego, and sacrifice for image. But the divine masculine asks for something very different. Love, presence, protection, rooted in compassion. For some of you, this plays out within you, for others through a father figure or ancestral line. Either way, this imbalance disconnects you from intuition, and that disconnection links directly back to the past life when guidance was ignored. In position 3 of the karmic trigger in this life, what is activating this pattern now? You have the Wheel of the Year in reverse and the Creature of Air also in reverse. So with the Wheel of the Year in reverse, this trigger is stagnation. You find yourself stuck, unable to move forward, waiting for luck to change, feeling like timing is never quite right. And the creature of air in reverse shows how this plays out day to day. Communication issues, emotional unavailability, impulsive decisions, and reactive behavior. You may believe you're being decisive, but in reality, actions are being taken without the full picture. You came into this lifetime not wanting to repeat your past mistakes, where once you froze, now you rush. You keep finding yourself in situations that demand immediate action, and instead of pausing to feel, you rely solely on logic. Emotional guidance gets blocked, and crucial information is missed. Decisions are made without the full picture. This is the karmic loop repeating, just in the opposite direction. In position 4 of the lesson you're meant to master, what your soul is actively trying to evolve through, you have the Maiden of Fire and the Trickster. The Maiden of Fire shows that the heart of this lesson is about reclaiming your inner spark, the part of you that feels inspired, curious, creative, and alive. You are meant to learn how to act from authentic desire, not pressure or fear. This is the part of you that lights a single candle in the dark, not because the whole path is made visible, but because one small flame is enough to begin. This lesson is complicated by the Trickster. This card represents unhealthy coping mechanisms, impulsive choices, distractions, emotional avoidance, or attaching your sense of power to external validation, material success, or control. Life has made you feel powerless at times, and in response, you've hidden part of your true self to survive. Underneath that armor is unprocessed grief. True strength is not denying your emotion, it's facing them. Divine masculine energy does the hard things simply because it's the right thing to do. It doesn't seek clout or need external validation. And sometimes the hardest thing is admitting fear, pain, or vulnerability without trying to outrun or mask it. Your soul is learning that inspiration cannot coexist with self-betrayal. The Maiden of Fire asks you to be brave enough to pursue what excites you. And the Trickster asks you to stop sabotaging that spark through avoidance, excess, or emotional suppression. Healing happens when you allow yourself to feel what you've been stuffing down, because emotions that are not acknowledged, they don't disappear, they wait, and they fester. This lesson is about choosing presence over escape, honesty over ego, and authentic courage over false control. In the 5th position of the gift that's in the contract, the strength gained from this long-term soul work, you have the 3 of Earth and the Huntress. Your gift is powerful. With the 3 of Earth, you carry the ability to co-create. You are meant to build something tangible, not alone, but in collaboration with others. And the Huntress confirms this as a soul awakening. You have the ability to recognize patterns, signs, and synchronicities and use them intentionally. This is not passive intuition, it's strategic awareness. You're learning how to read life like a map. As you heal this contract, relationships will also improve. Emotional connection becomes easier. You gain the ability to work with others instead of against yourself. This gift is often inherited. You're meant to expand your bloodline's emotional and intuitive capacity. In the 6th position of the path to integration, you have the 10 of Fire and the Star. So the 10 of Fire in reverse asks you to stop forcing momentum. Rest is not failure, it's recalibration. And the Star brings spiritual rebirth. Vulnerability is not weakness here, it's the key. Let people see the real you, even if it's awkward, even if it's messy. You are divinely aligned, but alignment requires honesty with yourself. Slow down, float for a moment, reconnect with your emotions. Let intuition guide you before logic takes over. Love is your North Star in this integration process. In the final position of what changes once you do, the shift that becomes possible in your present timeline, you have the 8 of Fire in reverse and Father God in reverse. So right now, this contract shows up as confusion, miscommunication, delays, and emotional overwhelm. The 8 of Fire in reverse. Once the contract dissolves, this energy flips. Clarity returns. Momentum stabilizes. Information untangles. Nightmares fade. Self-destructive patterns lose their grip. Father God in reverse delivers the final message. Truth over comfort. Authenticity may cost you something, but it will never cost you yourself. You're being asked to drop the masks at home, in relationships, and in your life. This is not just healing, it's liberation. This contract ends the moment you choose presence over panic, intuition over fear, and truth over performance. Your ancestors aren't asking you to be perfect. They're just asking you to be real. Thank you guys for walking through this lifetime with me. If this message resonated, let it settle into your spirit and notice what shifts in the days ahead. If you felt guided to another pile or want to explore more of your soul story, the rest of the series is for you. And if you'd like to keep traveling with House DeLuna, you can like, subscribe, or share this reading so it finds those who need it. And I'll see you in the next chapter. If you chose pile 3 with the clear quartz, this is your reading. So pile 3, this reading feels different right away. This pile is not about healing something broken or correcting a mistake. If you were drawn here, your soul already knows how to do the work. This reading is about remembering why you came. This is mission energy. In position 1 of your past life story, what happened in that incarnation that created this contract, you have free energy and the Knight of Swords. So in a previous incarnation, you entered this world with a deep, intact understanding of how everything is connected. Your connection to Earth, to Source, and to divine energy never dimmed the way it does for most people over time. If anything, that signal strengthened. Free energy shows a soul that knew how to stay in flow, how to recharge through alignment with your surroundings. You understood that energy moves through you, not for you, and that keeping it clean was part of your responsibility. And the Knight of Swords tells me that this wasn't passive wisdom. You acted on what you knew. You moved quickly when clarity arrived. You cut through stagnation. You weren't afraid to go first. This wasn't about saving people emotionally. It was about moving energy where it needed to go, restoring momentum, opening pathways, and teaching others how to reconnect. In position 2 of the contract itself, what vow, wound, or mission was carried forward, you have community life and the Fool in reverse. Community life shows your soul carried forward a very specific mission, to act as a stabilizing presence in collective energy. You're here to help usher in higher consciousness, not by forcing an awakening, but by embodying serenity, inner peace, discernment, and grounded confidence. This contract doesn't require you to save anyone. It asks you to model coherence, to be someone whose presence naturally recalibrates the room, whether through creativity, artistry, teaching, leadership, or simply the way you move through daily life. Your role is to influence the world for good by staying aligned. The Fool in reverse shows the only real friction point here. Not failure or wrongdoing, but self-doubt around how to express your mission. At times, you may hesitate, overthink, or worry that choosing the wrong path will somehow make you less useful. There can be a fear that if you don't do this perfectly, you won't be of service at all. But your contract is clear. Your service isn't tied to one correct role. It's tied to your vibration. You fulfill this mission simply by staying in integrity, following what genuinely lights you up, and keeping your energy clean. When your vibe stays high, the work is already happening. For pile 3, Spirit keeps emphasizing this. You are not here to fix, repair, or atone for anything. You are here to hold frequency. Your soul already knows how to do this. The only thing that ever dulls the signal is doubt, not incapability. In the 3rd position of the karmic trigger, what activates this pattern now, you have intergalactic travel and the 9 of Swords. So the trigger for you isn't so much an external event as it is an internal activation. Intergalactic travel speaks to a soul that has access to realms beyond the physical, astral travel through dreams, expanded states of awareness, remote viewing, or receiving information in nonlinear ways. These are very natural abilities for you, not something learned in this lifetime. It's tied to wonder, curiosity, and a deep intuitive understanding of the universe and how everything is connected. But paired with the 9 of Swords, we see how this activation may have first shown up in a disruptive or unsettling way. For some of you, this awakening may have been triggered through vivid dreams, lucid dreaming, sudden spiritual experiences, or a heightened sensitivity that arrived before you had language for it. So if you weren't consciously working with these abilities yet, it could have manifested as insomnia, anxiety around sleep, racing thoughts, or the fear of the unknown. The Nine of Swords here isn't saying something is wrong. It's showing the moment of realization. The moment when your awareness expanded faster than your nervous system knew how to integrate it. In other words, this contract activates when you start to remember who you are. The fear, worry, or mental overwhelm wasn't the purpose, it was the signal. It was what woke you up. It pushed you to ask bigger questions, to seek understanding, and to step into your higher calling with consciousness instead of avoidance. This position isn't asking you to shut anything down, it's asking you to ground what's already active, to move from fear into curiosity, and from imagination of the worst into embodiment of the best. Once you understand what's happening, the trigger loses its edge and becomes a doorway instead. In the fourth position of the lesson you're meant to master and what your soul is actively evolving through, you have teleportation and levitation and the King of Wands. So this oracle card is a reminder that you are not an ordinary soul moving through an ordinary experience. This card speaks to expanded gifts and dormant abilities that are meant to be developed consciously, not feared or suppressed. You're being asked to acknowledge what's already present within you. Your dreams are especially important here. You access your highest potential when you're in altered states, dream states, meditative. Why do I always struggle with that word? Meditative states, moments of deep inspiration. Belief is the first step. Simply allowing yourself to accept that these abilities exist opens the door to reclaiming them safely and intentionally. This card also comes with reassurance. You are divinely guided and protected. You are not exploring this path alone. Paired with the King of Wands, the lesson becomes grounded and embodied. The King of Wands is a natural-born leader, not through force, but through vision. This is entrepreneurial spirit, creative fire, passion, confidence, and the courage to be seen. You are meant to lead by example, to let your enthusiasm and authenticity invite others into alignment. This isn't about shrinking, hiding, or waiting for permission. It's about letting your ideas take form, trusting your instincts, and allowing your passion to move through you in a way that inspires others. It's time to let your freak flag fly, own what makes you different, and realize that this is the very thing that gives you influence. The lesson your soul is mastering is integration, not separating your spiritual gifts from your worldly expression, but allowing them to work together. When you embody both vision and action, intuition and leadership, you step fully into your role. This isn't about potential anymore, it's about living it. In your final position of the gift hidden in the contract, the strength or ability gained from this long-term soul work, you have creativity and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Creativity shows that the greatest gift you carry from this long arc of soul work is the ability to channel energy into form. Your creative expression isn't just artistic, it's spiritual. When you create, you attune your soul to higher realms, acting as a bridge between the unseen and the physical world. This card speaks to the balancing of the divine masculine and feminine within you, vision and receptivity, action and intuition, coming into harmony through expression. Creativity isn't optional for you. It's how your energy moves, clears, and finds peace. When you honor your creations, your ideas, your art, your words, your unique way of expressing, you access a deep level of soul satisfaction and inner calm. This is where your frequency stabilizes. The Queen of Cups in reverse points to emotional suppression, insecurity around vulnerability, or a tendency to hold feelings inside rather than letting them move through you. It can also represent people in your life with these qualities who struggle to connect with their emotions or feel overwhelmed by them. By you living out your soul contract, by expressing yourself openly and unapologetically, you naturally help lift and regulate the emotional states of those around you. Your frequency gives others permission to feel, to open, and to reconnect with their own inner world. You don't do this by fixing them, you do it simply by being yourself. Your creativity becomes a mirror, your vulnerability becomes an invitation, and your presence helps others remember part of themselves they've been disconnected from. The gift hidden in this contract is this: by honoring your own creative truth, you help others find theirs, and in doing so, you create healing not through effort, but through resonance. So you may have noticed that all the other readings in this video had 7 positions and yours only has 5. The reason for this is simple. Most of the soul contracts that we've touched on today involve a need to fix or heal something or complete a loop that was not ended properly, and yours is very different. So the last 2 positions involved doing all of that, and yours doesn't need to do that. So instead, I thought I would draw some starseed cards for you. Okay. Oh, one more. You have magnificence. You are amazing, magnificent, and unique. But most importantly, you are enough. And transcendence. Transcend your mind's limitation and allow your soul's light to truly shine. Let me pick the one off the floor that fell. And advancement. A strong energy is propelling you forward. Follow the stirrings of your heart. Well, guys, thanks for walking through this lifetime with me. If this message resonated, let it settle into your spirit and notice what shifts in the days ahead. If you felt guided to another pile or want to explore more of your soul story, the rest of the series is for you. And if you'd like to keep traveling with House DeLuna, you can like, subscribe, or share this reading so it finds those who need it. I'll see you in the next chapter.